Hey, Anthony Pietrobono here, online fitness coach and fitness author. For today's video, I want to discuss keto bodybuilding. This was asked a question by a fellow YouTube subscriber. She wanted to know the pros and cons of being on keto while you're bodybuilding. My channel is focused on helping you lose body fat quicker or gain muscle faster to help you enjoy life to the fullest. Now, if you're interested in that, then consider subscribing. I post 3 to 4 times every single day on those topics on my Instagram. So if you're interested, again, in that, then you'll want to follow my Instagram. It's at Anthony_Pietrobono with very long detailed captions teaching you everything you need to know with the science-based approach on fat loss and muscle gain. Now we're going to dive right into this video. The pros and cons of keto bodybuilding. One of the main reasons why people are so attracted to being on a ketogenic diet is because of the fact that you're not food obsessed, you're not so food focused. And this is a problem I've really struggled with throughout my first years of training, and honestly up until now I still do struggle with the fact of being so food focused, thinking about my next meal, always being hungry, and always planning my meals. When you're on a ketogenic diet, since it's such a high-fat diet, you really don't care as much about food. It's a really freeing feeling, and I really do honestly enjoy being on a ketogenic diet. But there is some cons associated with being on a keto diet in terms of wanting to build muscle. So the first main pro is that it is tough to overeat, meaning you won't gain a lot of body fat when you're trying to build muscle on a ketogenic diet. The second main pro is that it actually allows you to remain insulin sensitive. So since you're not consuming carbohydrates, whenever you do actually go ahead and consume some carbohydrates, your body can actually process and utilize those carbs very efficiently and effectively. So it's not the end of the world if you're on a ketogenic diet. A lot of people are afraid that if they're on a keto diet, then they eat some carbs, then it's going to go straight to fat cells. That's honestly not really the case. Unless you've been on a keto diet for years, then your body still is going to be actually very insulin sensitive for that period of time. Again, though, if you're on a keto diet for a very prolonged period of time, like a year or more, then you can start to downregulate that insulin sensitivity because your body just isn't really stimulating any insulin. The third main pro is that you're going to be experiencing enhanced cognitive function. Typically, whenever we're in a gaining phase, we're consuming so many carbohydrates and it's going to make us feel very sluggish and not really as productive. Carbs are going to be releasing that dopamine and we are going to be feeling more sluggish as a result. And believe it or not, ketones are actually a very favorable fuel source for the brain. A lot of people always talk about how glucose is the main fuel source for the brain and it really relies on glucose. Without glucose, the brain can't do anything. Yeah, that's totally true unless there's ketones. And ketones are what the body processes and utilizes as a main fuel source when you're in ketosis. And ketosis is something that you're in when you're on a ketogenic diet. So if you'd like a full breakdown on what the keto diet entails and how it all works, just leave it in the comment below and then I can go to full detailed video just breaking down the science of how the body actually processes these ketones and how we actually get into ketosis. So that'll be for another video. We're gonna move on to one more main pro and then on to the cons. The fourth main pro is that our body actually experiences efficient protein utilization. Basically meaning we can consume less protein and actually get more of a result because our body is actually more efficient at utilizing the protein in void of the carbohydrates and with the different systems and mechanisms when we're in ketosis. There are certainly more pros to being on a ketogenic diet and trying to build muscle, but these are the main ones and it's going to depend on the person for the little minor ones, what you consider to be a pro or a con. But we're going to dive right into the cons now. I personally use carbohydrates during my muscle gaining phases for the reasons I'm about to go over in this video. One of the biggest cons and disadvantages to being on a keto diet when trying to build muscle is the lack of carbohydrates. We need to understand that insulin is extremely anabolic. When we're on a ketogenic diet, there is a lack of insulin production and release because of the lack of carbohydrates. Again, insulin can be a fat storing hormone, but it can be anabolic as well. So we can't really completely try to get rid of insulin just by having no carbohydrates. We want to include carbohydrates in our diet if we're wanting to build the most amount of muscle. You can certainly gain muscle on a keto diet, but you can't perform optimally without carbohydrates. The second main con is the potential lack of micronutrients. When we restrict our array of food options, then it's much more challenging to get in the daily vitamins and minerals that we actually need to actually go ahead and stay healthy and stay functioning. So there's a lot of things like balancing the sodium and potassium pump. But this can easily be overcome by supplementing with an electrolyte supplement. So whenever you're on a keto diet, you're going to want to supplement with some sort of electrolytes. Again, just because we're not having any fruits or a lot of carbohydrate sources that do really contain all of our micronutrients. But there's not many micronutrients in protein sources. All the micronutrients that we're ever going to get on a ketogenic diet are going to be from the vegetables we consume. So we really have to make a point to go ahead and diversify the vegetables we consume while we're on a ketogenic diet. But again, at the same time, we can't really diversify too much because we can't consume a lot of things like carrots because that can kick us out of ketosis because of the sugars involved in the higher carbohydrate content. So we can only really consume green vegetables and not really unlimited amounts because again, if you have unlimited amounts of green vegetables, it can really add up and actually, again, kick us out of ketosis. So that's one of the main drawbacks and the main cons of being on a ketogenic diet when trying to gain muscle. Now, these are the two most major cons of being on a ketogenic diet when trying to gain muscle. There's a lot of other cons out there, smaller things. Again, depends on the individual and what you think. But from a pure, sheer science without any emotional attachment involved, these are the two major cons and the major drawbacks to a ketogenic diet. And these are honestly the two main reasons why I'm not on a ketogenic diet when I try to build muscle. I really like the ketogenic diet for fat loss when calories do get low, but for muscle building, this one alone, it just does it right here. Because of the lack of carbohydrates, you're not able to gain as much muscle as someone who is using carbohydrates for fuel. The carbohydrates are going to be maximizing your muscle glycogen and allowing you to perform better. You're going to be getting better contractions, better pumps, and you're going to be moving more weight more efficiently. With that, that means you're going to be progressing quicker in your strength and your gym performance is going to rise even faster. With the also pump, when you have an increased pump, you're sending more fluid to the muscle and you can grow more through the metabolic stress pathways. So, that being said, those are the reasons why I'm not on a ketogenic diet when I'm trying to gain muscle. But again, you can totally do this. It's totally fine to go ahead and be on this kind of diet when you're trying to gain muscle. I just prefer it more for fat loss. These are all the main pros and cons of what I personally think from my research, my experience, and seeing my clients use it as well. So if you have any more input on this, if you have any major cons that you want to report or major pros that I didn't discuss and you want to report that as well, leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.